When I think about what the pandemic gave us was really, I mean, it exploded our whole class. It meant that we couldn't just iterate on last year's model or the year before and say, oh, where do we tweak it? Where do we improve incrementally? It was like disassembling the whole tower of blocks and starting again.
What I've decided to do moving forward, post-pandemic, is I'm flipping my classrooms. I thought to myself, like, what is the value of an MIT education if everything is on OpenCourseWare? It's certainly not the performances, it's not the lectures, or the problem sets, or the exams, or the assessment, or the grades. It's the face time. It's students getting access to our time to ask their questions and for us to keep stammering out explanations until it clicks for them.
When you're speaking with them one-on-one, sometimes you can really sense more clearly what they understand versus what they're just throwing down on a piece of paper because they remember this equation might be important.
In a sense, I think the pandemic has shone a light on long-standing challenges that we've faced as an institute, as educators, as a society, kind of at every level. That challenge of enabling communication, building community, fostering dialogue.
The importance of taking students' home circumstances and mental health into consideration really got highlighted.
What it really takes to get to know a person is often lost on Zoom, these short conversations before class and after class. We don't have that people magically appear and disappear on your screen.
There was a lot more sort of uncertainty with everything being online and student cameras being off, so that maybe people were more receptive to reaching out to students and asking for sort of feedback, like mud cards, like how clear were things, how are things going. The instructors who did this and did this regularly, really got to know their classes and were by far more successful because they really partnered with their students.
We may continue some of this back when we're in person because it's a lot easier for a student to get to a meeting, especially with a lab prof who might work way over in Kendall Square, if they can do it online.
Listen, when you're teaching, either your teaching is tailored to your audience in a way where you're presenting them with a large array of content and insights, and then you let them guide you in identifying what's most meaningful to them based on their own life experiences. Or instead, there are other approaches. You kind of come up with a set of insights and you want to hit them in a class.
I think as teachers, we all know that things like being excited about the topic is important. I don't think we know how important it is.
There's just so much more room for empathy, I think, in education. I think grading by itself can sometimes seem harsh, and deadlines, there's a certain way in which one wants a course to evolve, but there are ways even in a system of that sort to build in some slack and to give people the time that they need to collect themselves and to do as well as they want to do. That's something that I think needs to be always there in our educational system. So that's something that I want to ensure that we carry back with us from the pandemic era.
The kind of learning that we got from this experience doesn't end with us going back to classes. I think there are many ways in which we can creatively bring what we learned in the Zoom world to back to the physical classroom.
I think the other thing is start simple. You can get more complicated over time. And this is why I say the design piece is really important, because if you build the right scaffolding into how you design the space, then it makes it much easier for the students to engage with it.
For this semester especially, I thought one major objective I had was just to increase the amount of engagement and connection students felt to each other and to the world around them. Given that set of overarching objectives about engagement and connection, choosing to swap out exams with debates was a really obvious decision.
What this pandemic has taught us or reminded us is something that's very unique to MIT and how we think about MIT. And I'm so glad I have a chance to kind of say this out loud, because it may not have been said so much in the last recent years, which is that we also advance the state of the art by finding ways to make it more accessible to our students. And MIT has an incredibly long tradition of phenomenal educators that made it a point to advance the state of the art by becoming amazing teachers, right? And then by making things more accessible, understanding them themselves better, and in so doing, coming up with incredibly new ideas and thinking of knowledge as a tool.